Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this Tropical Storm Marco coverage for August 24th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, it would be really awesome if you guys did hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for 900 subscribers. We're almost there. We're less than 100 away from the big ultimate goal of 1,000 subscribers. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as ring the bell notification so you don't miss my next upload. Also, watching the whole video because getting to the goal of 1,000 subscribers and monetization, we're getting very close. And you guys watching the whole video will help the Weather Dude's channel out a lot. So please consider watching the whole video as well. Please do. And also like and share this video with your friends. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm Marco, and even though it has weakened to a tropical storm upon landfall, it is still going to produce big impacts from the Louisiana coastline, Mississippi coastline, Alabama coastline, even Florida coastline, and even a little bit farther inland as well. Alright, so let's take a look at the latest NHC track. This is the 11 a.m. advisory, and as you can see, one thing about this storm, unlike Laura, is that while it's not stationary, it's moving a little slower than tropical storms usually do. It's moving north-northwest at 8 miles an hour. And eventually it's going to hook a left, a big left, down towards the west, and make landfall right around just east of Grand Isle in New Orleans. All right, still tropical storm warnings from the Louisiana coastline, New Orleans, and up through the Mississippi coastline, including Biloxi. But because of the shear, a lot of the convective activity is actually pushed off to the Alabama and Florida coastline, like west of Apalachicola and Tallahassee, but along the Florida Panhandle. And even as the storm moves inland, we can still see tropical depression, all right, as it moves through Louisiana and in through Texas. But this will be hooking a big left, all right? And if a frontal system happens to come through, maybe it'll pick it up and throw it east, but there'll be nothing left of it by then. It'll be completely dissipated, all right? So as you can see, look at where your tropical storm force winds are. Well up to the north and east of where the storm center actually is, which is right here, all right? So something interesting. Now, taking a look at the tropical storm force wind probabilities, there's a good threat, but you can see through New Orleans, even though it's going to make landfall as a tropical storm, there's only a 40% chance of tropical storm force winds. So it may even dissipate a little more. It might even weaken a little more, I should say. But right now, still a pretty high threat. The further east in Louisiana you go, and the farther south and east you go in Louisiana, the higher threat you will see tropical storm force winds. Now, looking at the exact strength, all right, here's your little wind field here of your tropical storm force winds. Right? And it's not reaching land yet. Nobody's seeing tropical storm force winds. Even a lot of the convective activity is out over here. We still have storm surge warnings and tropical storm warnings in effect, again, for Louisiana and Mississippi coastline from Biloxi and Gulfport through New Orleans down through Grand Isle, or actually just east of New Orleans, I should say. All right, then comes on shore with 40 mile an hour sustained winds, so it might actually weaken even more upon landfall. But still, gusts to 50 miles an hour here. All right, then it makes its way on shore as a tropical depression or a post-tropical depression as it moves further inland, moving through Lafayette, Lake Charles, all right, actually maybe towards College Station. But keep in mind that you might be thinking, oh, this storm is nothing. We dodged a big bullet. Kind of, but this is just a little precursor to Laura, which is another video if you want to check that out, that I did today. Now, I remember, I think it was a couple years ago, it was when the East Coast was dealing with a lot of coastal storms, a lot of nor'easters that was producing a lot of snow. Actually, I think it was 2018, March. Right? That was actually a few months before I started my channel. And I remember there was two coastal storms, two nor'easters, and one was a weaker, more, kind of like a nuisance, still produced a few inches of snow, wasn't too bad. But then the big storm came through, and we got like a couple feet. So this is the same kind of thing, except we're not talking about nor'easters, we're talking about tropical storms / hurricanes. This is the precursor, the little nuisance that could still cause problems. All right, and that you still need to prepare for. But then you have Laura that's going to come through and produce a lot more damage, potentially, sadly. So storm surge can still get pretty high, and I'll take a look at the storm surge map in a bit. All right, but here are some of the key messages from this storm. Again, don't underestimate this just because it's weakened. We can still see a lot of surge. I'll go over that in very shortly here. Gusty winds, surge, heavy rainfall is another big threat too, because this is moving very fast. All right, along the Gulf Coast beginning later today. So in a couple hours, you're going to begin to see some impacts. And then Laura will be coming through on the backside as well. But again, that was in another video. So here is the peak surge forecast. You might have saw this picture in the thumbnail. And you can see 2 to 4 feet of surge, okay, from Morgan City, all right, through Grand Isle, up through just east of Lake Pontchartrain, up through Ocean Spring, Mississippi. Still 2 to 4 feet of surge. This is slightly less surge, almost the same amount of surge you would see in a very weak Category 1 hurricane. All right, so still some pretty decent surge, especially if the highest wind speeds come at the time of high tide. You're really in some trouble. All right, now you can see, remember you thinking, where is Marco, right? I mean, I see a lot of convection. It's over here. There's really, I mean, unless we see some convection flare up near the center, Louisiana, Mississippi may not get much rain. All right, it may be it's all at Alabama, Georgia, you know, in the Florida. That's where a lot of the convection is. But the storm center is actually located right here. That's where the low center is. You see the convection is completely detached from the entire storm. All right. So we're getting a lot of cloud cover out towards Louisiana, Mississippi. Not much in the way of rainfall right now. All right. Which, in a way, I guess that is somewhat good news. But when you look at the NAM says, that might change. And here's why. All right. Some convection may flare up near the center again. We may see a last-minute flare-up, and that could result in some heavy rainfall, Louisiana through Mississippi. All right, then as we head through time, then Laura comes in, but not really focusing on that right now. Then the remnants of it still moving up northwestward through Louisiana, through Arkansas, which will be, again, getting hit by Laura as well. So again, as you saw in the thumbnail, the total accumulated precipitation, all right, they think just around Gulfport and Biloxi, maybe 6 to 10 inches plus of rainfall, which is very, very heavy rainfall, and we'll see where that lines up. As for sustained winds, all right, not too strong. We're talking about 40, 50 mile an hour winds upon landfall, which is still strong, but it's enough. It's a nuisance, okay? But look at this. Upon landfall, we see a brief flare-up of some 45 knot winds, which is 52 or so miles an hour. Then the storm makes landfall, not moving too fast. As you can see, the storm is still sitting in this general location, okay, overnight tonight and through Tuesday. So it's not moving completely fast like Laura is. All right, so take a look at the alerts. Again, storm surge warnings are in effect. Gulfport, Biloxi, now it actually does include New Orleans, and just south of Yuma, including Grand Isle. Then outside of that, we still have tropical storm warnings and flash flood watches from Gulfport, Biloxi, through New Orleans, just east of Baton Rouge, down through Yuma as well. So kind of like a similar region, but the tropical warnings expand a little bit farther out than the storm surge warnings, because the storm surge warnings only include coastal locations, because that makes sense. The water's coming from the ocean. Now, take a look at our total threat from the storm system. I like this map, been using it recently for the National Weather Service, specifically here. Now, total threat, they have a purple, which means extreme, which means somewhere on this map there is purple, but I can't seem to find it, unless it's like on one of these islands and I can't see it. Because all I see is red, but still, we're talking about significant threats today, anywhere along the extreme eastern and southeastern portions of Louisiana. But even Yuma, New Orleans through Gulfport, we still have an elevated risk for today. Now, let's take a look at non-thunderstorm winds. This means the threat of winds from the tropical system itself, not from isolated thunderstorms. These are non-thunderstorm winds. Anywhere from Yuma up through New Orleans and Grand Isle in this extreme region, that means sustained winds will exceed 50 miles an hour, either sustained winds will exceed 50 miles an hour, or wind gusts could exceed 65 miles an hour in that purple region, or it could be both. Okay, but even in this sort of red region, which is a significant region, even all the way up through Baton Rouge, okay, you were included in the extreme or significant region, I should say, and that means you can see sustained winds upwards of 50 miles an hour, and winds could gust close to 65. All right. So not quite as strong. Okay, we're talking about winds 40 to 49 with gusts 58 to 64. All right, but still a very dangerous threat. Now let's take a look at one more here, because if I go through all these, it'll take all day long. Coastal flood risk. All right, purple from Gulfport to New Orleans, just south of Yuma. This means that we can see winds of greater than 45 miles an hour, wave heights of 17 feet plus. This could lead to widespread beach erosion and coastal flooding. Again, waters are warmer than average. 31 degrees Celsius, and upon us making landfall, we're talking about 30 degrees Celsius water temperatures. It's pretty warm, but we have seen a lot warmer, I'm pretty sure. So in terms of our current storm location, where has this moved to? Right about here, actually. I think it's moved a little bit farther west. So we're talking about 88.3 degrees west and 28 degrees north in terms of our coordinates. Track, there's really not much to say with this. I mean, it's still going to track westward. The models don't quite agree, but generally they do agree it's going to take west, kind of like a northwest turn, but nobody agrees on the exact track. However, the GEFS models actually do agree, right? You see they kind of skirt the coastline. The NHC kind of has it bringing more inland, but a lot of the models have it just skirting the coastline. Some of the models say it won't even make landfall until it hits Texas. All right, that's certainly a possibility, but it could come on shore in Louisiana first. Then maybe it could come out back over the water because the high pressure is still pretty strong right now, keeping this thing suppressed out towards the west. Because of that high, the general movement of the storm is more towards the west. GEPS model tracks kind of say the same thing here, but they kind of bring the storm more in an inland, kind of like the NHC said, and that's kind of more agreeable here. And then as of the intensity forecast, I mean, how could even the dumbest model couldn't get this wrong? Okay, the storm comes on shore, it's going to weaken a lot, and who knows? Maybe the next 12 hours, it may not even be a tropical storm anymore. So thank you guys for watching today's video. Okay, regardless of how Tropical Storm Marco may seem to you, this could still be a very dangerous storm for coastal Louisiana, even interior portions, as well as coastal Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. So please keep that in mind. And again, because of that easterly shear, a lot of the rain is impacting Alabama and Florida right now, even though the low center may be tracking in through Louisiana, which is why you still have to think outside the cone, think outside the box. So thank you guys for watching today's video. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers. Every single one of you, please hit that subscribe button. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, catch you guys next video.